Vice President Joe Biden playing the blame game in New Hampshire, pointing his finger at the Tea Party for stalling the economy.
Imagine where we'd be if the Tea Party hadn't taken control of the House of Representatives. A group, they're honorable people, but a group set on obstructionism. They have one overwhelming goal: prevent Barack Obama from a second term, with apparently no care of the consequences to the economy.
Time to bring out the panel. David Rare is a professor at George Washington University. Brooke Goldstein is the author of Lawfare, The War Against Free Speech. And Susan Solovic is the CEO of It's Your Biz. David, let's start with you. So is it the Tea Party's fault?
No, when you have bankrupt ideas, as this administration does on economic policy, you blame everybody else.
Well,
the vice president just needs to, gird his loins and do the right thing, cut taxes, and get the economy growing.
I've never heard anybody actually call for somebody to gird their loins. That's awesome. All right, Brooke, what do you say?
I think a statement like this from the Vice President of the United States that expressed so much disdain, not just for a segment of the American population, but for the democratic process itself, is absolutely outrageous. What he is saying is the president could not exercise his will because people exercise their right to vote. That is outrageous.
Susan.
You know, I have to agree. Actually, Gallup came out with a poll today and showed that almost half of Americans view the vice president unfavorably. You know, our elected officials are there to represent our beliefs and our opinions, to vote the way we hope that they will vote. You know what he's basically calling is this constituency is disenfranchised. They shouldn't have a right to have their opinions expressed, but it's just that Americans aren't buying what the Obama administration is peddling.
Well, we got a long way to go till November, that's for sure. Okay, let's talk about the Secret Service. The Secret Service agency, mired in the aftermath of the Colombian prostitution scandal, they issued an apology today. Director Mark Sullivan testifying to Congress for the first time as 4 ousted agents are fighting to get their jobs back. Brooke.
Look, I think it's about time the Secret Service has given an apology for this, which is what they did at the hearing. It's been over a month since the story broke. But we have 24 people who've been implicated in this scandal. 8 people have lost their jobs. 2 more are under investigation. And Janet Napolitano at the same hearing said this isn't a problem with the culture of the Secret Service. All signs point in the opposite direction.
Good point, Susan.
This is not a one-time incident, I can tell you that. It was just too egregious, too blatant. This is part of the culture. And I'll have to tell you, I used to manage a national sales force at a Fortune 100 company. All men who reported to me, there was a saying, what happens on the road stays on the road.
David.
These guys just got caught.
David, do you agree?
I do, although I think the Secret Service has an opportunity to throw the kitchen sink at the 4 agents who are seeking their jobs back. You need to send a message. You do something wrong, you're fired, it's over, you're done.
What happens on the road stays on the road. All right. Yet another blow to the electric car industry. Rolls-Royce received such negative reviews on its electric concept car, it banned the idea altogether. The Phantom 102EX even had the biggest battery pack on the market, weighing in at 1,400 pounds. Wow. But potential buyers said the car still didn't last long enough. You couldn't drive it long enough on the battery. Susan.
Yes, you know, here we go. If you can afford to buy a Rolls-Royce, you don't want to be inconvenienced. The infrastructure is not there to support this car. I was in a garage the other day. I saw 4 slots where you can plug in your car. 4. You know, that's the first I've seen. These people don't want to have to be worried about where they're going to be plugging and charging their battery. Although you might use that battery for one of those men, weight challenges. See how far they can carry it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really 1,400 pounds.
I'm very skeptical of the claim that the reason why it wasn't successful because the infrastructure isn't there. It is there, and we have cars like the Chevy Volt, for example. They're very successful on the market. I think it's the state legislation that's really pushing the production, and frankly, the electric cars are not good for the environment. Everybody knows that most of them are made in factories that use coal to generate electricity. So
net, at the end of the day, we vote no. David, how do you vote?
Well, I just hope the CEO of GM and the Energy Department officials in the Obama administration get the message. It's not ready in the market. We shouldn't be spending money on it. Let's move on.
Move on. All right. David, Brooke, and Susan, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Great job. We didn't have a ton of time, but you guys got all the smart comments in. Thank you. All right. The Consumer